My name is Joe Bonge. I'm from the Gambia. I work with the Youth Alliance, the Gambia, and I am an environmentalist. It's an honor to be at the first African Youth Summit on food systems. I'm joining my fellow young people from across Africa to discuss the issue of food security, which is quite a very timely meeting and which is quite needed for the continent Africa, being a reservoir of the world, and agriculture being the backbone of every development across the different facets of our development as Africans. It's beautiful to be discussing an issue of agroecology, which is quite very new. And as young people being the future leaders, and as young people being the cream of every development, we are taking the future in our own hands, meaning we want to be responsible leaders. The future is now, but not tomorrow, as we prepare to hand over our legacy that we are planning for tomorrow's generation. We're working in partnership with our governments to be able to align our needs, our aspirations, and what we want to hand over to the next generation. The issue of agroecology is an issue of livelihood, it's an issue of human rights, and it's an issue of well-being. That being said, for every developing or conscious nation, these are basically the main thing that every government works towards, their promises to their people. So today in Nairobi, Kenya, we have comprises of different young people from all walks of life. And additionally, we've also brought in politicians, academia, and other stakeholders to discuss agroecology. Africans have, for many years, fed itself before colonialism. And agriculture has been the rock that has actually been driving our way of life and well-being, using indigenous knowledge and cultural lifestyle. Agriculture recently has been downgraded, and young people have no interest in it because our governments don't invest what needs to be invested in continuing agriculture as it used to be. Young people are conscious about this important sector and have revisited how life has been before the invention or the coming of our colonial masters. And agriculture is actually quite very weak, which is actually causing rural-urban migration, making young people abandoning the farms, and which has actually been transformed to other purposes. So we're calling on our government to think deeply and mainstream the issues of agroecology, which actually comes with our cultural, traditional, and indigenous aspiration and way of life, which will definitely help to boost our food systems and make us to be self-sufficient and self-reliant and be able to debunk foreign aid that we have so many years been relied on. So as young people with the energy, we believe if our government invests so much on agriculture, especially mainstreaming agroecology in the process of our national development, we're able to win the fight against food insecurity that the whole world is battling. As young people, we have come to the realization that the global north have introduced so much industrial mechanism of agriculture which does not fit in the context of our culture, tradition, and beliefs. And we don't have the technologies, and many of these solutions coming from the global north are false solutions. And as young people, we are actually rethinking and going back to the indigenous way of doing agroecology and making sure that our governments provide the necessary lands and unconditional finances, and making sure that agriculture being the main sector that will actually solve the problems of unemployment. And I believe that if every government look deeply into its youth and creating and making agriculture very lucrative, we would not have the African youth migrating to global north, believing that, the global north is a greener pasture. Africa is the reservoir of the world. Africa has all the needed natural resources, and Africa can feed the entire world if only we Africans and our government take agriculture very seriously in making sure that we've put our young people into, on the forefront of the process in making our agriculture very lucrative. We must be able to mainstream our indigenous knowledge, skills, aspiration in our education system, and as well as making sure that we have community banks created to support young people to go into agriculture so as to avoid the reliant on foreign aid and taking loans that puts our entire development sectors at jeopardy and at risk. And we call on every African government to definitely look into this and support agriculture and mainstream agroecology in all development policy processes.